Google dropped an update that shut down hundreds of thousands of Google Workspace inboxes that were being used for cold email. Legacy panels are being shut down. Email accounts connected to cold email sending tools are being shut down. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the new update that Google dropped that is changing the way cold email is being done right now. Right? So this doesn't mean the end of cold email. Effectively, it's just a little hurdle that we're going to have to get over. But today, if you don't already make these changes, you're going to be left behind and stuck, wasting thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on burnt domains and damaged inboxes. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. Basically, Google dropped an update that crushed cold email. Now, this isn't the end of the world, but what we're seeing at Dulce and why it matters for your deliverability is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And if you wait to the end of the video, I'll give you my exact action steps that I would take to go ahead and fix this issue right away. First things first, let's discuss the root of the problem. What's the actual issue and what actually happened? So here's the problem. Gmail's aggressive crackdown has begun. So for those who aren't aware, over the past several weeks, not just ourselves, but a ton of other agencies, inbox providers have been feeding us information and learning firsthand from these disruptions that we've seen across cold email infrastructure. So particularly affecting Gmail and Google Workspace accounts. Now, so what actually happening is Google is identifying, suspending, and permanently banning mailboxes that are being used for cold outreach. So where are they coming to this conclusion that these inboxes are cold outreach and why they're being banned? Well, there's a couple of things that need to be taken into consideration for that. Number one is platform detection. This is actually something that I talked about in my October 2024 deliverability video over 1 year ago. So first things first is inboxes linked to popular cold email platforms such as like Instantly and Smartly are being flagged through detectable APIs, app IDs, DNS records, and even your sending IP. So as my hypothesis was over a year ago has come proving correct, and now people who didn't hop on that trend then are now paying the price. So effectively what Google has done is, first of all, let's just address the elephant in the room here. They are a multi-billion-dollar company that quite frankly does not like cold email. Why is it still a thing though? Well, first things first, cold email effectively does actually make them a ton of money. And second of all, email accounts, can't 100% always be spam because then no one's really going to enjoy it. Remember what happened to Outlook at the beginning of last year when they just started sending everybody spam. Even I had a friend who worked at Microsoft and his emails were going to spam to another Microsoft employee. Can you believe that? So platform detection is going to be the number one factor. Now, a couple other factors coming into play is the infrastructure targeting, which I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. But once again, we're notified this earlier in the year, so I apologize for not making videos sooner. But effectively, legacy panel hosted accounts are more particularly vulnerable right now compared to direct reseller infrastructure, resulting in mass suspensions. I'll go over that in just a sec. And the immediate consequences that we're seeing from this change here is that domains are, again, becoming permanently burned and unrecoverable. And mailboxes get suspended without warning and significant revenue losses across the industry. Effectively, from what me and some of the top guys have been discussing, is that overnight, just like that, 50% of your inboxes, our inboxes, and our clients' inboxes are just gone. Just like that. So what is actually happening behind the scenes? So again, since Google is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, they have deployed automated systems that are actively flagging this infrastructure tied to these cold email behaviors, right? Like I said, this sophistication goes way beyond just a simple "you're going to spam" filter, right? It's all about the root, right? They're going after the root. Now, what they're looking for, again, specifically, right? DNS or CNAME records pointing to known cold email tools, right? App integrations with mass sending platforms, legacy Gmail inbox behavior and sending patterns, API signatures from popular outreach softwares, API addresses associated with these sending platforms. These are all red flags that Google is going after, right, to prevent this from spreading further, I suppose, after the long amount of time they've let it slide for, right? So the insight basically is once these are flagged, they become unusable. But the good news is if they're not, you can effectively move these domains to either Outlook or SMTP setups or direct resellers, which we'll go over in the next slide. So again, this is not the end of the world, but it is a clear sign that now, more than ever, if it wasn't already before during the Outlook crisis back then, that you should have diversification inside of your infrastructure setup, right? Because in the case scenario, right, as an agency owner or somebody just doing outreach in general, if you are sending with Gmail and then something like this happens where it gets slashed overnight, well, guess what? If your sales are relying on cold email, where are you going to sit there and twiddle your thumbs? It's very important to have this extra infrastructure on the back end. So, okay, Google's out, boom, Outlook in, or vice versa. So, to further my point on what exactly legacy Gmail panels are for those who aren't aware, legacy panels are non-reseller Gmail inboxes that dominated the cold email industry for years. Your top providers have always used legacy, and a lot of them have, I mean, if it's a good provider, they've not kept this a secret, right? And now they are facing trouble. So just so you know, for historical context, between 2007 and 2012, Google offered free Google Workspace accounts, which were later designated as legacy since Google stopped offering them to new customers and eventually pushed existing users to start going to their high paid tiers, right? So that was probably around 2022 that happened. So understanding why this matters is very crucial. So what specifically makes it popular legacy panels and why resellers different is because legacy panels were popular because they were cheaper, just flat out. They were significantly cheaper, easy to set up in bulk, and widely used across cold email. It's kind of in this gray area because again, they were these old legacy panels, like I said, from 2007 to 2012, and they've always just hung around. Now you could get some good deals on EDU or nonprofit panels, which is what a lot of people push towards, but inevitably paid the price, right? So in contrast is that direct reseller inboxes are provisioned through Google's official reseller program. So effectively, performance-wise and everything, they're very similar or exactly the same as legacy. Again, the only difference here was pricing. So why they're failing now, as I mentioned before, is that they're starting to blanket ban these legacy panels. And because they're doing this, and the reason it stemmed from was for, unfortunately, cold email people like us who are using these exploited loopholes, that era is now over. So with these inboxes getting nuked overnight, legacy infrastructure is simply just too unstable for serious use. I mean, then again, it's not like completely out of the question. It's not that like, oh, you can never use it again. But the thing is, it's just, as you guys know, the way that I preach to everybody on this channel is that I'd rather be safe than sorry. And at this point, it's not even a risk worth taking, right? So Google never like officially said like, oh, all your legacy panels for cold emails are cooked. They didn't say that. This was something kind of just hidden in the, I wouldn't say hidden in the background, but just a move that they made that we have to adjust to and stick onto the new path for long-term viability, right? So our exact response for Inside of Dulce of what we've done is we've gone ahead and basically implemented a comprehensive infrastructure change. So effectively, like I said, if Gmail's out, Outlook's in, or SMTP, right? So what we're doing specifically is I took every single client, including our accounts that were on legacy, and immediately transferred them to direct reseller, right? That's number one. Number two is we began to add more Outlook to our portfolio of email accounts, right? Just to maintain that healthy diversification. Now, it doesn't need to be like 50-50, but I would suggest like a healthy 60-40, 70-30, again, in the just in case scenario. Now, private SMTP, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I do keep a small batch just in case. Like I mentioned to you guys before, it's always important to have this specific setup. So again, in any case scenario, you got yourself covered. Now, who we're using for our main Google and Outlook sources is Cheap Inboxes. This is not a sponsored video, but I highly recommend them to anybody who is looking to go purchase these direct reseller accounts. And someone, phenomenal team, they're always on top of this. And again, I found out about this way sooner. And because of that, you know, we were saved thousands and thousands of dollars. So we've been using them for over 2 years now. Now, in my private coaching community, which will be launching at the end of this year, you will get a special $2.80 per inbox discount by just being in the community. So go in the description down below, go ahead and join that. There's a seven-day free trial. Our wait list ends on December 23rd, and the first 250 people who join get a fat discount. Some of them free for life. So make sure you go do that down below, right? Anyways, They have both infrastructure offers. Their support team is phenomenal. I literally put in here they're never offline, by the way, because I swear to God, I will be chatting with them at 9 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 p.m. There's always somebody inside of that WhatsApp chat who gets to me, so they're always on top, and they have a track record to prove their success, right? So once again, join Agency Ignition. Link is in the description down below, so you could get this special pricing moving into 2026. And with that being said, what I'd give you as my final recommendations here, as again, this landscape is consistently evolving, is if you're on legacy panels, if you don't know, I'd ask. First thing is ask. I would get off of them immediately, again, just to protect yourself. I would also implement diversification to your inboxes so you don't have just 100% of one type. I would also always make sure to prioritize stability over cost, because I'll be honest with you guys, after this change and the way that the industry is looking to shape, the days of $1, $2 a month inboxes is going to be over. Okay. Nonetheless, if you're still getting it cheaper than the $720 a month or the $840 a month that Outlook and Google are offering, then listen, you're getting a better deal in its entirety. All right. So focus on stable infrastructure that protect your domain, reputation, and business. And again, better be safe than sorry. Number 4, I would always partner with prepared teams. Like I said, I love cheap inboxes, and they've always done good by me. They've always kept me in the loop and updated. So again, before any of this hit catastrophe type levels, they informed me, gave me guidance, and you could be connected right with them at any time of the day. So bottom line is, like I said, this isn't the end of cold email. It's just another inflection point that we have to take into consideration. And again, in the next 6-12 months, legacy panels are most likely going to continue to keep coming down if they haven't already. So many people end up panicking, right? As always they do with deliverability. But listen, those who proactively diversify and always maintain their knowledge of the updates in the industry, then you're going to remain stable. You're going to remain profitable. And again, you're going to be known as the top guy out there who stays on top of his stuff. All right. So listen, if you are looking to not have to worry about any of this and consistently stick up with the news every single day on cold email specifically, and you want your outbound done for you so you could get more sales calls, then listen, never hurts to set up a free strategy audit with myself or one of my team members. As of right now, as long as I know, we're the only agency with a unified platform across email, LinkedIn, voice AI, SMS, and direct mail, giving the highest possible opportunity to convert a prospect. Again, worst case scenario, you get some free advice. Best case, we work together and we flood your calendar. I'll talk to you guys next time.